Hi, welcome to my channel. Here it's Quilting Nerd, and today we will continue different approaches to creating texture, and which simply consists of combining areas of different quilting density and direction or direction. And we will start today with those small squares. They are about 2.5 inches large. And what I will do now is I will secure the edge. So that's one side. And what I did as a preparation here for this first idea for having a very nice texture is I divided my square with two diagonals. But I will not quilt on the line. I will just use those lines as my orientation point. And I will just quilt first dot to dot within the created triangles. These videos are meant to be more like for beginners or intermediate quilters. That's why I am not using any complex patterns, at least for now. I will stay within easy or very well known back and forth lines. Simply so you know that you can create wonderful eye catchers in your quilts while not having many patterns in your arsenal. Simply it is all about understanding the principle of the texture generation. And what I will do now, I have this very nice star in the middle, and I will just go back and forth on the outside, suppressing this area down. I am taking it slow, trying to keep the line spacing below 1/4 inch, because I really want to have this large difference in the density, that I have suppressed these triangles down, so my star can really pop out. Don't rush when you quilt, it's not necessary. The speed is less efficient than technique. If you have good technique and good quilting habits, you will create your beautiful patterns and you will quilt your quilts much faster than when you quilt fast, but then you are not happy actually about it. So maybe it's not about the speed, it's about the degree of satisfaction that you have at the end. We will take a look at the results in a moment, but even now you can see that this one part will be popping out much stronger, even if I wouldn't use such strong contrasting thread. Now the next one, because here I had very dense filled area, so here I would like to keep that one relatively maybe less dense quilted, so I will have again the contrast in the quilting density. But let's see what we will. We will not always manage to have these areas here, because I want to try with you the kind of contrast inversion principle. So now I also marked the lines on a diagonal, but first I marked a circle in the middle. And we said we want to keep those areas here less densely quilted. That means I have to quilt my circles in a relatively dense way. That means, but I also want to have this a little bit divided. I don't want to have this kind of area left unquilted. And in this case, I'm quilting on my markings. So to be efficient, I will quilt back and forth. The same is here. This is quilting exercise. A lot what I am showing you is not about having a great project. It's all about enhancing mine and your skills and understanding how can we control the output. So when we start quilting, we do not have this problem. How do I quilt it? What is the effect I want to achieve? You will simply know what to do. And now we want to suppress the circle back. I can of course go back and forth lines, but in this case we want to, I would like to enhance this shape, so I will simply go with densely spaced spiral. And I will go out as well. This gives me also the chance to practice the control, so I am actually guiding my needle through, and I will finish also here, and then I can have also this line quilted with double thickness, so I am traveling again. So now we would like to have a reverse of our first. That's my concept, at least, that I would like to have a reverse line here. And that means I will again quilt the dot to dot line first. But this time I will leave this part, the triangle part, unquilted. Of course, if you want to be very precise, you can mark you the middle or the spot where you want to pivot. Sometimes I do that if this is really critical part, but most of the time I just go for it. In this case, I can try to go with back and forth lines, but you can see that here I will have these very long lines here. The same here. So what I will try to do, actually, I will try to put very dense stones and swirls where I have the space. So just a little bit of very dense quilting. You can also do staples because they are very nice and flexible. They are adjustable to all the space that you have available. So here you can immediately start practicing and seeing what designs can you reduce in size and what is difficult. So swirls can be only reduced to a certain amount. smaller than that, it's already getting challenging for me. I would have to slow down a lot and have tons of tiny stitches. So there is no way I will be ripping that one out. Here it's the density, which is the most important factor. And I'm done. And you will see later on when I will take a look at it, I forgot to actually secure my block. That would actually help me a lot. It's secured on two sides, but now to enhance this effect, I actually should quilt it here in the ditch as well. So, and now we have again our middle, and here again we have to mark. We should quilt on the lines. At least we have to mark the round one, but I will keep with the symmetry of the previous design, so I will try to repeat as much as I can. And again, first I should have secured it, but I am concentrated on quilting, on talking, and then I forget the necessary steps. You can use ruler here in the middle. That would also work, of course. I used it to mark my lines. So, we are almost done here. So again, the focus of today's exercise is to see, even if we have the same design and shapes, what difference does it make if we fill it differently and put accent on different parts. I never took a quilting class, so everything what I'm showing you here I learned on my own, sometimes from books, sometimes from videos, but I had to put it into use on my own and understand the principle. I would say from all the books I read about that they're just not about the patterns and the shapes. It's books of Christina Camelli that are the best to explain the differences in the texture, and from her books I learned the most and I understood also the most. I am not paid for this recommendation, absolutely. Just we are exchanging sometimes in the comment sections. You're asking me questions and I am trying to answer as good as I can, and in this case it simply just popped out into my head. So here I am just using back and forth line and enhancing the texture, adding some texture subtleties by changing the directions of my lines, and it will change how the light is reflected. I had a short videos about that a few weeks ago, and if you will look at the side of this, at such simple pattern, you will be amazed how great it looks. So now I will break the thread so we can take a closer look. And it's really like a reverse, contrast reverse. It's like looking at negatives of certain things. And believe me, this texture will pop out if you have this project hanging on the wall. The next section I will focus on is this 4 patch, and that will, I have 2 different colors, black and red for dramatic effect, and I will separate the 4 patch as a 1 block. After that, for comparison, we can maybe add the quilting in the seam lines, so we can see before and after. So for now I will leave the middle not quilted in the seam lines. And what I will do here is I will add orange peel design, and let's see what we can do with a simple orange peel design when we add some when we play with the texture and play with the different density of the quilting. So the most effective way of quilting orange peel is to add arches on one side, then go down, and fill the other side of the, trying to keep the arch as consistent as possible. And now I will leave the one side for now unquilted and repeat the process. This is a very effective way to quilt any quilt that consists of 4 patches. The effect of overlapping circles is very nice. So now if we'll take a look at the design. Let me zoom out a little bit here. Yeah, so now we have our 4 patch. And we can see here that we have areas of, that is under the petal, or within the petal, and area that it's outside. And it's very easy to do. Actually, what we could do is actually we could suppress the whole area here and make much denser quilting within the flower, or we could suppress everywhere in the middle and then stand the flower pop out, because it will be less density, so we have more volume here. The batting is not suppressed, so this volume is not suppressed. Actually, what I want to do is to do those 2 things at the same time. So I mean, in the red ones I will quilt the part under the arch, and in the black one I will quilt in the middle. And because if I wouldn't have this such a very strong checkboard, maybe I would do that differently. And if we have we still have another checkboard, and then we can try the other way. So okay, taking into account that here I have dense, okay, let's do that. So let me focus again on the quilting. So that's a bit too much. So let's get the under the petals everywhere within the red. Under the petals I will use the back and forth lines to suppress it. As I said, you can use stippling, we could use some small oval shapes. That would be also very nice, only it would take a little bit longer. But if you want to have more variety, that's what you could do. You could also do the elongated lines. The block is not that large. So actually in this case, if I will quilt it that way, I do not have to come back and suppress the area with the quilting in the seam line, because I effectively did that already with my quilting. While making those videos and thinking about the content, I am forced to take completely different look at the process of quilting, and I have to understand it better. So I am actually learning tons while preparing all those videos for you. I know that not every content is fascinating or beautiful, but I hope each and every video is helping you with a little bit of some aspect of quilting, at least a little bit, and brings you a little bit more farther in your travel. I'm very much fan of Feynman principle of learning, which means consider one topic from as many different angles as possible. So that's why sometimes I have very repetitive content. But also, if I'm thinking about some quilting classes, which I never, as I said, I never took class, but I mean, if I think that you have to fill with the same content about some aspects of quilting 1 hour and a half or 2 hours, then it has to be also repetitive. So think about my videos as very tiny sections of a very long quilting class. Of course, it's not the same like actually working with a teacher directly and getting a direct feedback, but for some of us that's sometimes not an option, because we do not have the possibility to have a quilting class just around the corner, or quilting teacher, like the same was for me. So in such cases, YouTube is your friend. So now here in this case, if I would have known immediately what I'm doing from the very beginning, I would have quilted it with single back and forth lines, covering immediately the whole section and having a little bit more fun with the design. But that's also always a possibility for your quilt. And here in the black ones, we said we wanted to suppress the middle ones, so the outside is a bit more pronounced. And again, I do not want to for now add any more new patterns, so in this case let's go with the swirls. They look so nice and dramatic in this gray thread on this black background. I want them to be nice and dense, because we want to keep this section of the block down. So what we are doing in creating texture is selecting areas where we will squish our batting and the unquilted part will stick out. or quilted with different density. And that's why it is important, if you are using overall quilting patterns, to keep your quilting density consistent and your spacing consistent, because if you leave something unquilted, it will attract attention because it is a large difference in the density, and that's the difference in, that's what makes the texture, that's what makes this eye catcher. Only in this case it wouldn't be welcome. So we want to have something nice that has nice overall similar density and character. So in this case I use the swirls and it's suppressing nicely down. And here what I can do is I can have even more fun, and I can make small pebbles. This is for extra patient ones, so we don't want to have too big differences. This is a small area that I will simply quilt it. You can see that I am trying to move very smoothly, going around, not changing the direction. It's just going, like always going forward. It's like going on a roundabout. Pebbles are always giving incredible texture because of also the traveling that we have around them. They have very strong personality, I would put it that way. And in this case we want to have them densely packed. Along with the pebbles you can create incredible texture because you can vary their size. So I am actually making a tiny variations in the texture within this tiny spot, because some of my pebbles are small and some are a bit larger. So here I will have actually a competition going on between the not quilted orange peel and the very strongly contrasting pebbles area in the middle. And that's how it looks like. And you can see immediately the big differences that we have here. Let me make some nice photos to underline and maybe show you this later once more from while holding camera at a different angle. So now I'm holding the camera from a completely different angle, and you can see how nice the texture here is. On the black one it's less visible because it's black, but on the red ones, let's take a look here. You see those little pillows here that are puffing up here with the squeezed spiral in the middle, and then here we have like a total negative. Also here this one is sticking very nice up, and then we have the suppressed black center. So we have here a very, very big contrast that will show up incredibly when you have the light coming on from the right angle. Let me see if I can, yeah, so it again shows up very nicely on the red ones, and also here and here. So we have tons of texture with very simple means, just by playing with placement of the less densely quilted areas and strongly quilted areas. So I can just encourage you, try it with very simple designs and simple blocks maybe that you have not finished laying around, and see what you can do with it using very simple patterns, but just playing with difference in the density and creating actually, like here, completely new secondary designs just with your quilting. In principle, when we are done here, if that would be larger, I don't know what you would completely detract the attention from the block itself and just focus on the secondary pattern created by your quilting. So I hope I gave you some ideas to play with and learn a bit more about quilting. And see you soon in the next installment. Thank you so much for watching.